It looks terrible. See that ring light in there? Anyhow, so it's the end of the first day of my quitting, my journey to a better life. And a few things learned today. I had a false start earlier. We're also changing the camera angle. We'll see how this works. Anyhow, I think the thing that I learned today that's the hardest is trying to explain to friends and family what the heck I'm doing. Yeah, that's it. Because it just sounds crazy. Why would you walk away from a job thinking you're going to have a better life? So the easiest thing I can tell people is I'm starting to work freelance. I'm making the choice to do that and see how that works out. And just leave it at that. Don't explain to them, let the success speak for itself. And if it isn't successful, well, I went to another job because of whatever. On a personal front, what did we do today? I wouldn't say I suffer from insomnia all of a sudden, but I did wake up at about 5:30 in the morning. Couldn't really get back to sleep until 7:30. And I don't want to say that I was worrying about anything. I wasn't stressed about anything. It didn't seem to be on the surface anyhow. But anyhow, 7:30 rolled around. My wife was feeling the same way, so we got up. We got up and we went out to breakfast and we sat down for a strategy session. That's just a fancy way of saying that we sat down and talked with each other, and I shared with her what I expected to do, and she gave suggestions for what to do, and I kind of made a rough sketch of what I want to do for the next week. I'm lucky enough to have set up at least one session already with an entrepreneur to give me some advice, to give me some coaching. I offered to pay him for his time, and I wanted 2 hours of his time to ask him, well, I'll say about half a dozen or maybe a dozen questions. If I were to read them off of the paper, they would come off a stream of consciousness. But in the end, there are a long list of questions that are open-ended that I think that will serve me well. Anyhow, so I'm going to set that up for the next week. For the next week, I need to get business cards, very simple business cards without much explanation of what I plan to do, simply a name and a phone number. I'm hoping that I will make enough of an impression to the people that I hand them out to that they'll remember what they're for. I really don't think that's going to be a problem. And then, as it so happens, just a day or so ago, somebody called me needing my help with some lift chairs that they had that had fallen out of sync. So they needed somebody to come by and do that. While that would be a burden or expense on the store where they initially bought them, I went there and did that for them on my own time and received a tip and was reassured by the fact that there is a need for the skills that I have, basically. That's what I'm saying. And I'm probably yammering on again too long. I want to keep these as short as possible and as succinct as possible. So on that note, ordering the business cards, making plans to sit down with entrepreneurs. I have one that will be scheduled for this week, and I have two others that have happened just by happenstance. Basically, I've come out of my shell as far as that goes and just decided to start talking to anybody that's interested or has skills that I might benefit from. And I think if you ask for help, you're going to find that more often than not, people are willing to help you. So living by that creed, moving forward, we'll see what happens over the next week.